Good morning, Fit Family. I wanted to give you a little update on my hydroponic lettuce growing. And I've been more successful this year, and I made a couple of changes I want to tell you about. Last year, I tried growing these same tubs of greens, spinach mainly, spinach and kale, in my windowsill, but it didn't get enough light. So I've added the vivosun. I have two of these vivosun LED lights, grow lights, attached to the top of this shelf, and they've worked out beautifully. One light is large enough to cast enough light on 2 bins, so good for 4 bins, which has supplied me with about 75% of my greens all winter long. And I can't tell you how satisfying it is to come out here, clip off some kale or spinach and put it in my blender and add all my fruits and super powders, my super vitamins, and that's 75% of my nutrition for the day. And you know, the other benefit is that your produce is fresh. You don't lose the nutrients like you do when they transport it. Greens specifically lose 30 to 50% of their nutrient value within 48 hours. Spinach can lose 90% of its nutrients. So you're almost better to have frozen if you can't grow your own fresh. And of course, during the summer, we get to grow it all summer and go pick it, and that's great. But in the winter in Indiana, not good weather for growing. So that's why I wanted to do the hydroponics. And so the changes of the lights, the other change I made was I was trying to grow the seed directly in the net pot and coconut core. They just weren't germinating well, and maybe it was because I didn't have enough light. So I started the seedlings in a seedling tray without a light. And when they got their first true set of leaves was when I brought them out here, put a little coconut core around the transplant, and then they grew beautifully. Here's some new spinach that I just planted. This was at January 3rd. I transplanted it out here, and you can see it's just doing really well, growing nice big leaves, and it'll be ready to start harvesting pretty soon. And this spinach has been there for a while. I actually had some spinach go to seed already, so this one I cut back and it regrew. So it's just phenomenal how well it's doing. And this, I have 2 kinds of kale, the curly kale, premier kale. This does fabulous out here. I can't believe it. I have a couple chard, red Russian kale, and I have some bok choy that's trying to go to seed. I'm trying to save it, but it's wanting to go to seed. I do have a little romaine back here that's doing beautiful. You just can't see it because the spinach is so big. But anyway, with those changes, it's just phenomenal how well this grows. And let me show you the root system. So when you initially put these in, you want to make sure that the water comes up to the bottom quarter of the net pot, so that the roots can, you know, soak up the water. And when you bring the transplants out, like I did with these, initially you only put 50% of the nutrients suggested for that plant type. Spinach is like 1,200 to 1,600 parts per million. So you doing 50% of the nutrients eases the plant into bringing in those nutrients rather than throwing them into a full strength. And I do that for 2 to 3 weeks. After that, I adjust it up to 75 to 100%, depending on how the plant's doing. And it's been working well that way. So yeah, and then, you know, the water level will continue to go down a little bit as the plant is feeding. And This is the root system for the kale that's been here since November. I took this from inside and brought it out here, and it's just been growing and growing. And so you can see how massive that root system is and how they join together. So these are, the top half of the roots are feeding off the oxygen, and the bottom half, which the water on this one is about up to here, is feeding off the nutrients. And that's how this Kratky system works. And you don't need any pumps, just the water, the nutrients, and your plants. And the nutrients that I used, I'll show you. I use, there's 3 parts to this system. There's a master blend, which is your NPK, your nitrogen, phosphorus, nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. And then the calcium and magnesium are additional. And that seems to work really well on this system. So it works on all the different types of greens that I'm growing. And so you can have a variety. If you're going to mix them like I did here, just make sure that they have the same requirements for your nutrient levels. And generally they say that you should just only plant one kind in each bin, but I've been mixing them with success. So, you know, you can experiment like I have and get your fresh greens all winter long if you like. Fill up your blender, add your superfoods and your fruit and nut milk if you like, and then, you know, you'll have most of your nutrient for the day that's raw, fresh, nutrient dense, and your cells will be singing all day and give you lots of energy and vibrant health. So, you know, if you have any questions, drop me a message and I'll be glad to help you get started. And I'll post some links below the video for some of the supplies that I use. So start your hydroponics, you know, anytime you wish. If you can't wait till it's garden season, you still have a few months, you can grow some. That doesn't take long to get them started, and you can be eating fresh greens in no time. So have a blessed day. Take care.